When affection arrives like a fireworks show, it feels like destiny. But there's a quiet difference between being genuinely cherished and being dazzled by intensity that burns out quickly. Love bombing is the rush of attention that sweeps you off your feet and rarely lets your toes touch the ground. It looks like relentless compliments, constant messages, rapid promises, and a fast-forward button on closeness. Real interest moves at a human pace. It shows up as steady presence, curiosity about your inner world, respect for your tempo, and space for the mundane. Love bombing often centers the bomber's storyline, the fantasy of how perfect you are for them and how perfect they will be for you. Genuine interest centers the relationship's reality, two people discovering whether their lives and values actually fit. The tricky part is that both can feel intoxicating at first. Intensity mimics intimacy, and the brain reads novelty as a reward. The difference shows not in the grand gestures, but in what happens when everyday needs appear. Inside the nervous system, intensity is persuasive. Early relational surges can light up dopamine, which teaches the brain to chase more of what felt good yesterday. Oxytocin, the social bonding hormone, may spike through long talks, physical affection, or shared secrets, which can prematurely glue two people together before trust has had time to earn that closeness. If your attachment history includes anxiety or inconsistency, the high-frequency contact may feel like relief from a drought, and your body may treat it as a proof you are finally safe. If you lean avoidant, the same intensity might feel smothering, and you may pull back sharply, which can paradoxically escalate the pursuer's efforts. Healthy attraction also lights up reward circuits, yet it stays regulated. It makes room for pauses, because pauses help the prefrontal cortex evaluate fit, values, and boundaries. Real interest honors that reflective space without punishing you for needing it. In daily life, love bombing creates a rhythm of surge and crash. There is the deluge of messages, the sudden weekend plan that asks you to cancel standing commitments, the urgent language that frames delay as danger. When you attempt to slow down, the mood shifts from adoration to frustration, then swings back with an apology and another wave of intensity. The cycle teaches you to keep the tap open to avoid the chill of withdrawal. Real interest creates a rhythm of approach and check-in. It respects your work hours and friendships, accepts no for what it is, and treats repair as accountability rather than performance. You are allowed to be tired, undecided, or busy, and the relationship still breathes. Language is a tell. Love bombing leans on superlatives and future tripping, painting a glittering horizon that leaps over the present. Real interest asks more than it declares. The person wants to learn how your mornings actually look, what you do when you are stressed, how you prefer to communicate when you disagree. That curiosity is active and specific. It locates you as a person rather than a role in an imagined story. When curiosity is missing, compliments feel interchangeable, as if anyone could be cast in your place. Boundaries draw the clearest line. Love bombing treats a boundary as friction to be smoothed away, often with more charm. A request for slower pacing is met with a bigger surprise, a louder promise, or a claim that your caution is fear you should override. Real interest treats boundaries as information. If you need to end the call because you are waking early, the conversation ends with warmth and a plan that honors your sleep. If you are not ready to meet families, there is no pressure dressed up as romance. Disappointment can coexist with respect because longevity matters more than speed. Green signals of healthy interest show up in small, repeatable behaviors. The person does what they said they would do, even when it is unglamorous. They listen to understand rather than to stockpile leverage. They remain steady when you are not available, and they do not turn absence into accusation. Red signals of love bombing appear when affirmation is contingent on access, warmth is abundant when you respond immediately, and cools when you keep prior plans. Triangulation may appear, references to others who would be delighted to be in your place, to nudge you into competing for approval. In healthy interest, your no does not threaten the bond. In love bombing, your no becomes the start of a campaign. Picture a simple scene. You met someone at a friend's dinner. The conversation flowed, you exchanged contacts, and by the next morning there are dozens of flattering messages. By midweek you have a playlist, a long note about soulmates, and an invitation for a weekend away. When you mention a prior commitment, the tone turns cloudy. You are told this is rare and must be seized. and that your caution proves you have been hurt before and should let them show you what real love is. You feel both flattered and pressed, and the tension knots in your stomach. In a parallel week with someone genuinely interested, the messages come with air. A check-in asks about your project. A joke references that funny mispronunciation from dinner. Weekend plans are a suggestion, not a test. When you decline, they say they are looking forward to next Tuesday and ask what time works. Your body unwinds because you are not asked to abandon your life to prove your affection. After the first conflict, the contrast widens. With love bombing, conflict becomes an audition. The same person who crowned you exceptional may now list disappointments with theatrical gravity. You might find yourself justifying basic needs, then rewarded with another wave of tenderness once you concede. With real interest, conflict is a conversation that moves towards something. The person names their part without turning yours into a flaw. They can tolerate discomfort without retaliating. There is no scoreboard of who texted last. Instead, there is the shared project of learning each other's patterns, so the next pass is smoother. If you wonder whether you are being love-bombed, notice your body after contact ends. Do you feel grounded as if your life still fits, or a shaky urgency to reopen the channel, because that is the only place you feel seen? Intensity can be thrilling and still be misaligned with care. You deserve a bond that calms as well as excites, one that widens your life rather than collapsing it to a single point. You can test the difference gently. Slow the rhythm on purpose and watch the response. Suggest a plan that fits both routines rather than a grand event. Name a boundary plainly, without apology, and see whether it is respected without argument. Ask questions that invite specificity, like how they handle stress during a busy month, or what they learned from the last time they hurt someone's feelings. Real interest welcomes the chance to be known, even if answers are imperfect. Love bombing tends to slide back into spectacle, because spectacle is its strongest muscle. If you have already been swept up, that is not a failure. Your system is doing what it learned around attention and security. You can reset the tempo, restore small anchors in your routine, reclaim standing plans with friends, workouts, and quiet time. Share that you are adjusting the pace so you can meet the connection with clarity, not as a threat, but as a condition for your best presence. A person invested in you will adapt, maybe even appreciate the steadiness it creates. A person invested in the high may protest and escalate. That information protects you. Keep a pocketable playbook. Align your pace with your body, not with someone else's urgency. If you feel the buzz that says respond now or lose it, breathe and wait to see whether the connection holds. Name one boundary in plain language and maintain it kindly across repeated tests. You are not required to relitigate it each time. Widen your perspective with a grounded friend, a journal, or a counselor if the cycle stirs old fears. Outside eyes help the brain step out of the loop that reward and anxiety create together. Sometimes it is more than fast energy. If the intensity arrives with control, isolation from supports, or punishment when you assert small preferences, treat it as heavy rather than romantic. Safety beats chemistry. You can step back fully, limit contact, and ask for help from trusted people if disentangling feels wobbly. If you share children, housing, or finances, professional guidance adds a plan and witnesses. None of this makes you dramatic or weak. It means you are doing the brave thing by prioritizing steadiness over spectacle. If this brings grief, that is understandable. Letting go of intensity can feel like stepping out of the warmest light in the room. Real interest may look dull by comparison at first, because it is quieter. Give it time. Healthy care accrues evidence. It shows up on the boring Tuesdays with dishes and deadlines. It shows up when you are sick, when you need silence, when you have a boundary that is inconvenient. It grows through repairs, not just through rushes. Over weeks, your body learns the difference. Anxiety softens, you laugh more often, your calendar still looks like your life. You deserve a love that is generous without being grandiose, attentive without being consuming, hopeful without making promises it cannot keep. You do not have to rush to secure it. Watch for the small proofs and let them stack. The right person can meet you there because they are also looking for something that lasts beyond the first blaze. If this helped you sort the signal from the noise, consider following for more calm, research-based guidance. And share this with someone who could use steadier ground. Your attention is precious. Spend it where your nervous system can exhale.